I've been caught in the whispers, lost in my doubts, tangled in stories I can't live without. But there's a fire, it's burning inside, calling me forward, I can't run and hide. It's not about perfection, it's about the climb, breaking through the limits, one step at a time. With every breath, I'm closer to the dream, a life that's bold, a heart that gleams. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. The mirror's reflection, it shows who I am, but it's just the beginning, not the end of the plan. Through trials and heartache, I've learned how to fight, to shape my tomorrow. I start with tonight. It's not about the shadows, it's about the flame, fueling the courage to rewrite the game. Every step forward, I leave fear behind. Greatness is waiting, it's yours and it's mine. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. Through the storms and the pain, I'm finding my way again. With purpose, with heart, I'll never fall apart. It's the journey, not just the end, a story that begins again. I'll build it, I'll create a life that resonates. Be great, be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. This is your story, it's time to ignite a life of intention, a future so bright. The world is waiting, don't let it wait. Step into your greatness, it's time, be great.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome in. My name is Andrew Burkum. I am the founder and CEO of the Idea Training Academy, and this is Be Great. Every week we get together and we talk about one way to get a little bit better. Maybe this week two ways to get a little bit better. I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Ali Man, welcome in. Style, I saw you. Kitty Cat, thanks again for the 30 months on subscription. I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys all, and the fact that you show up to, I don't know, to hear my ramblings about how we try and get a little bit better in our life. As you may or may not know, if this is your first time watching or if you're watching this back, I'm an expert on organizational health specifically, and I'm a person who spends a lot of time trying to focus on how to get better in life, how to get a little bit better, how to help other people get a little bit better as well. You're very welcome. Thank you. This is a live and interactive show. So, you know, I meet with a group of other excuse me. I meet with a group of other coaches every couple of weeks, and we get together, and a lot of them have podcasts. And I've been podcasting since 2018, and so they talk about, you know, what are you doing? What are your podcasts? And I met with a couple of people over the last couple of weeks who are kind of marketing people, and they were like, well, you know, you should have a podcast, and you can invite people on. And I said, you know, I've got a show. It's kind of a podcast. It's a live stream. And everybody looks at me like I'm crazy when I say I do a live stream. It's like they've never heard of this before. So, I don't know, maybe that makes me a pioneer in this area. Maybe it just makes me a crazy person. But I enjoy the interaction. I like having you here so that I can talk to you, talk with you, not just talk at you. I feel like if I had a podcast in the traditional sense, it would just kind of be me here just saying stuff. And who knows if there's anything resonating on the other end. And maybe that's what happens some weeks. But I like this format. I like it that you are here. So if you are watching the recording, if you're catching any of this after the fact, and you're going, who are these people that he's talking to? We do this live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m., almost every Thursday. I'll admit I was off last week, and I'll probably be off this next week. So we do have gaps sometimes when we have life things happening. Speaking of life things, it is back to, and Style and Aliman, I know that the two of you are in the UK, so I apologize when I say this, but we're back to real sports season, which is American college football season. That's why you'll see I'm wearing my Nebraska Cornhuskers Hawaiian shirt today, which combines two of my favorite things in the world, Hawaiian shirts and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So, you know, there's probably a therapy group for that. Real sports, yes. It's real sports time. No, I love college football. I've always been a big fan of college football. So I'm excited to be back and to be able to watch the game every week. One of the reasons, hey, Juju, what's up? How's it going, my friend? It's good to see you. How is your life? Tell me stories. One of the reasons that I catch on to football, though, is because, again, as an organizational health expert on the one hand, and as a coach on the other hand, I'm obviously very interested about the way people interact in teams. And football is a great team sport because you can watch everything play out there on the screen. Juju, I'm glad you're good. Just started school. RIP, my friend. How is school going? I know my daughter also just started a couple weeks ago. She's doing pretty well, but it's a whole thing. Football, woo, exactly. I know, Ali, man, I'm so excited. And I love to watch it. I love to watch the way that it plays out on the field because I think you can tell something about the culture of a football program by the way they show up on the field. And winning and losing are important things in the sport. Of course, they're really the most important things if you look at it in terms of metrics. But the way the interactions and the leadership happen on the field are the things that interest me the most. And Nebraska is a good example. They've got a coach, a guy by the name of Matt Rule. And Matt Rule he's a super cool guy. He's very charismatic and very well spoken. But you can tell just from the one-on-one interactions that you see with him, you can tell that he really cares about developing the people that play on his teams. And I think that's the difference between great leaders and okay leaders. Meh. Meh is how we define school. I get it. I understand, Juju. I went to school for 150,000 years. I feel that pain. The great leaders that I've worked for in my life have been the ones who put their work and their time and their energy and their effort into growing the people that work with them. So I have one of the organizations that I work with, I have gotten a new department. And so I have this new department, and at first I looked at it, and if any of them are watching, I hope you don't take this wrong. But at first I looked at this department and I thought, man, I kind of got the misfits. You ever think that, like the island of misfit toys? You remember that? I was talking to one of my friends the other day about this, from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and there's the island of the misfit toys, and there are all of these toys that are just a little bit off. And when I looked at it, I thought, well, I kind of got the misfits. Not that the people are unskilled or weird or anything like that, but it was kind of all of these different little projects and corners and things that were really just the things that didn't fit anywhere else. And so I thought, what am I going to do with this group of people? There's no through line. There's no consistency with this group of people. How am I going to make this work as a unit and as a team? And that's when I remembered, because it's been a while since I've had to lead a department like that. I've worked in individual leadership, and I've led short-term teams, but it's been a while since I had to run a department like that. And what kind of brought me back to myself was the memory of those times that I'd worked with leaders who were very disciplined and very focused on putting energy into the people who they worked with. And so I sent out a big mass email to everybody this last week, and I said, hey, here's what it's going to be. We're going to meet a lot, especially at the beginning. We're going to meet a lot. But the meetings are going to mean something. They're going to be for a reason. The first reason is we're going to determine who we are and what we stand for. We're going to set down the idea of the group of people that we want to be. And some ideas I have about that are, we want to be a group of people that solves problems together. We don't want to just work in individual silos. Now, I'm going to talk, actually, if you saw the title of this episode, you saw that there's a time, I think there's a time for working alone. And so those of you who are introverts out there, you can rest assured, I'm going to get to the time when it's time to work alone. But I wanted to build a department that's a group of people that work together to solve problems. And then they kind of go off and solve their own, work those out in their own individual areas. But we start by coming together. And I said, I also want a department that's built on trust. So have you ever had somebody who said, oh, I have an open door policy? I interviewed a whole bunch of HR candidates over the last few weeks. And every single one of them, when we asked, how do you build trust with people? They said, oh, I have an open door policy. But none of them really knew what that meant. Have you ever had anybody who said, I'm your boss and I have an open door policy, and then you ever try and book a meeting with that person and you can't because they're busy meeting with other people? Because an open door policy isn't just about saying, hey, you could come to me with whatever you want. It's about actually being available. So good leaders build trust by being available and by listening and not having so many ideas that the ideas that are coming from the people who work with you get drowned out. I think that's another big thing. A lot of leaders, a lot of good leaders are that way because they have a lot of ideas. They have a lot of things going on in their heads, but there comes a time when you've got to kind of push all of that down. Now, that's going to lead us into what I really wanted to talk about a little bit today, which is this idea of, there's two different things, but I want to start with this idea of limitations. The idea of how we free ourselves up by limiting ourselves. Do you know what I mean by that? We kind of... Okay, so again, I don't want to call anybody out, but I work with a leader, and he loves the phrase, one team, one dream. He says it all the time. It's in all his emails. One team, one dream. And you've probably heard the old phrase, teamwork makes the dream work, right? And I think, listen, I hope it's already come across that I'm a person who believes very strongly in teams. But I think sometimes when we reduce teamwork to a bumper sticker slogan like teamwork makes the dream work, I think sometimes that misses the point. And so that's the second part of what I'm going to get into today is that what if that's wrong? What if it's not teamwork that makes the dream work? But we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about this idea of freeing yourself with limits. We live in a society. I don't know if you've heard this. We live in a culture that loves the idea of unlimited choice. We love the idea that we can go to, you ever looked for anything recently and gone to Amazon and just searched it? And what do you find? You find pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of the exact same thing. I went looking for a stylus pen to write on my electronic notebook the other day. And I typed it into Amazon and I came up with, 100 pages of these things. And I'm looking through it and they all look the same to me. We love this idea of unlimited choice because we think that unlimited choice is unlimited freedom. We, in the United States here especially, we love our freedoms. We got freedom of speech, and we got freedom of the press, and we got freedom of this, and freedom of that, and freedom of the other thing. But here's the thing. If we have nothing but freedom, if we have nothing but options, how do we ever make the right choices? How do we ever make a choice? When you look at that Amazon the Amazon search with hundreds of pages of pens, how do you choose the right one? What's the methodology that you choose? Because unlimited options, really, they kind of lead us into overwhelm, right? And not only overwhelm, but distraction. Because you know what? I get into page 5 and 7 of these, and now I'm looking for this pen, but I'm also reading the reviews, and then I'm looking at, also there's something here that this is also recommended for you, and now I got to go look at that, and there's all these things. So we end up in overwhelm, we end up in distraction, we end up in paralysis, really, right? The amount of choices that we have, more often than not, keeps us from moving. Because too much choice is almost as bad as no choice at all. There is this idea of self-imposed limits that I really, really like. And it's something that I try and do. One of the stories that I read as I was kind of preparing for this, and I wrote a short piece in my devotional newsletter about this last week, but the composer Igor Stravinsky, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but famous composer. And when he went to write one of his pieces, he decided, you know what? I'm not going to use any of the conventional time signatures. All of the rhythms, that I'm not going to use that. I'm going to limit myself and say what are the most popular ones, and then those are the ones that I'm not going to use. And on the face of it, you would look at that and you'd go, wow, that's going to fly in the face of music. It's not even going to be musical anymore. It's just going to be noise. It's going to be, crazy. But it ends up completely changing the way that the world looks at rhythm. That change in the world is based on a limitation. And when we put limitations on ourselves, sometimes we open the door to better creativity, certainly, but just to a better way of living our lives. In this daily writing process that I do, and this is what I call a discipline. For those of you who may be new, my school of thought is really based on what I call the IDEA framework. That stands for I, which is your identity. D, which are disciplines, which are things that you do every single day to get a little bit better. There's E, which is execution, which are the big leaps that you make to get you closer to the future that you want. And then there's A, which stands for accountability. And that's what keeps you in line with where you're supposed to go. But I'm focusing on discipline this year. And disciplines, again, are the daily things that you do that bring you closer to the person that you want to become. And one of the things that I decided at the beginning of this year is that I wanted to become somebody who was a better writer. I need to, if I'm going to get out there and I'm going to go speak in more places, or I'm going to, have more conversations with people that might be interested in coaching or in hearing what I have to say, I need to write more. And so I decided that I was going to have a discipline of writing every single day. And as of today, it is day 102. And every single day in the last 102 days, I have written a piece and published it. And by the way, you can find a lot of my writing at substack.com, andrewburkum.substack.com, which is right up here. If you go check that out, that's Be Great, which is my weekly newsletter. Semi-weekly right now. I've been kind of off for a few weeks because my schedule has been weird, but that's my semi-weekly newsletter. And every week, it's just one way that you can get better, one way that you can be closer to your own personal greatness. And so I'm 102 days into writing and publishing something every single day. But when I did this, I said, you know what? I'm going to put limitations on myself. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to keep this within about 500 to 1,000 words. That's amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know. I'm actually, I don't talk a whole lot about being proud of the accomplishments that I have, but I'm pretty proud of that because it's a hard thing. I know that I talk a lot, but writing is a hard thing. Even if it's something that I do every day it's still difficult. And so I am proud of the fact that I've accomplished it. But one of the things that I set out, you should be proud of it. Thank you, Head of Steel. I appreciate it. And hello and welcome, by the way. I put limitations on myself. I said I'm going to keep it within 500 to maybe 1,200 words. Sometimes I go a little above that. Usually don't go below it, but I'm going to keep it in that range. And I'm going to do it every single day. And I'm going to follow this specific structure. And what I found was when I didn't have to worry about those things, how am I going to structure this thing? How long do I want this to be? When am I going to do this? Every day, same time, same word count, same structure, different topic. But when I got those little structural things out of the way, I found out that I was able to focus my energy. And when I was able to focus my energy, I was able to be more creative. Is every day based on the same topic? No, absolutely not, Kitty Cat. In fact, every day is a different topic. Yeah, absolutely. So this is my devotional that I'm writing every day. And I'm writing that specifically because at the end of 365 days, I'm going to release it as a book in print form. I'm still releasing my other book, which is also called Be Great, at the end of this year. But this will be my second book, and it's called Becoming, A Year of Progress. And it is about the reason for this devotional that I'm writing and the book that I'm writing is that I find that a lot of people who are in the faith-based space don't talk about personal growth. They talk about spiritual growth and your relationship with God and all those things, but they don't really talk about how those things interface with you being better. Because, I work with you guys. You want to be better streamers, or you want to be better writers, or you want to be better leaders. You want the organizations that I work with, they want to be better servants of the people that they work for. And all of that is growth-based. And I think in that space, we don't get a lot of that growth-based stuff. We get a lot of the very high kind of spiritualized stuff, but it doesn't always come to the plane of how do we grow and how do we become better. So that's what I set out to. That's my second book that I'm writing. Eve, hello. Your Substack post encouraged me to apply for a job that I usually never would have even looked at because I didn't think I'd be good at it. It really helped me grow. I'm so thankful for it. Eve, well, first of all, hello. It's good to see you. Welcome in. And I'm so proud of you. Do we know? Did you get the job? Even if you didn't get the job, right? You applied for it, and you stretched yourself. You reached out past your limitations, and you did something that you wouldn't have done normally. So that's the thing. Like, getting the job is not the victory. Doing that application, that's the victory. I love that. I love that so much. Talk a little bit about limitations and how limitations can help free us up a little bit. There's another fellow named Phil Hansen, and Phil Hansen, very famous artist. He's got a TED Talk that's called Embrace the Shake. And he has this very, very detailed art style. And at some point, he developed a condition, a neurological condition that causes his hands to shake. And so at first, he's like, this is just going to ruin my art. It's just going to destroy it. But his whole talk, which you should go look at, by the way, and it's called Embrace the Shake, is about how he learned to make the shake a part of his signature style. He took that constraint, that limitation, and he made it into a strength. So glad to be here again. I have an interview tomorrow. I'll definitely let you know. I'm so excited, Eve. I'll be live tomorrow night. Hopefully you can pop in before bedtime and let us know how it goes. So excited. That's super good. And of course, on the Discord, there's a Discord community that we have, guys. If you're in the Twitch chat, you can do !Discord. If you are in the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat, just comment Discord, and I'll make sure that I send you a direct link to that. It's a community of about 200 people and change, and we talk about all kinds of things, but one of the things we do is we support each other through our own personal growth. So this idea of limitations and how they can focus us and how they can make us better, I wanted to look at this today because it seemed to resonate with people when I put that out this last week. I got a couple of comments that said, hey, this actually is something that's meaningful. So I wanted to throw this out today and maybe elaborate a little bit more on it in terms of the IDEA framework, the IDEA idea framework. And here is kind of how I broke that out, right? So how does it interface with IDEA? I is all about identity. And your identity in the IDEA framework is not just about who you are. Not just about, oh, my identity is I'm an American, right? Or, oh, I identify as a nonprofit leader, or, I am identified as this, I'm identified as that. It's not about labels. It's not about titles. Identity is about who you are, but more importantly, about who you are becoming. And the way that limitations help you with your identity is that they help you keep aligned with who you're becoming, not pulled into the demands of other people. Now, that last part is going to be really important as we move into the second half of today. Keeping aligned with your own stuff instead of being pulled into what everybody else wants from you. And I know I talk about this a lot, but it's really important. You have to live your own life. Yes, you have to live it in service of other people. The only things that we do in this life that matter are the things that we do in service of something that's greater than us. But we don't want to be pulled into every little demand. We got to know what track we're on. So limitations keep us aligned with who we're becoming. They teach us how to say no to things that aren't on our trajectory. Very, very important. This feeds into disciplines because sometimes the no's are just small no's, right? If we say small no's, we can strengthen what I call our big yeses. So if somebody contacts me and says, hey, man, I need you to, write this piece for this local newspaper. Can you do this for me? And I look at that and I think that'd be a really great opportunity for me. I might get the chance to get some exposure. It's another chance to write. But then I look at it and it's going to take me away from the things that I need to do, that I should be doing. Writing my own things, growing my own audience, building my own community. If it's going to take me away from those things, it's a small no, but it's in service of my great yes. Dang, I was identifying as Corbin Dallas taught us to and got modded. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Doc, welcome in. It's the Cycling Economics Doc, everybody. So limitations play into disciplines by helping us say the small no's that strengthen our big yeses. And they play into execution, which again is when you get these big moments, these moments when the stakes are really high, when we have to make the big choice. Do I, take this job or do I take that job? Do I start my own business or do I stay where I am? In those moments, when we have limitations that we place on ourselves, they reduce the noise. And when we have reduced noise in our lives, it helps us to show up sharper, helps us to show up better. I am a meat popsicle. Awesome. Amazing. And of course, with accountability has a lot to do with limitations, because accountability, I always say accountability starts usually with us being accountable to other people. So when I'm as a coach, one of the main things that people come to me for is accountability. They want to come to me because they want to know that every week or every other week or every month, whatever track they happen to be on, that they can come in and somebody's going to go, okay, we said you were going to work on your resume. Where's your resume? That's external accountability. But the elevation of accountability is when you become accountable to yourself. And when you become accountable to yourself, limitations that you impose on yourself serve as guardrails. They help keep you on track, even when motivation dips, because motivation is one of those things that motivation's a roller coaster, guys. Don't rely on motivation to keep yourself on track. That's not going to happen. The roller coaster, it's not the part of the track that goes up and down that keeps you safe on the roller coaster. It's those guide rails, those guardrails that keep the train on the track. So you got to set up limitations in your life to serve as guardrails. So all of that. But how does this get practical? What are some things that you could do? What are some limitations you can place on yourself that will actually matter? Okay, I'm gonna give you a few things. Some of these you're not gonna like. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. First one is this: choose a daily limit. Anything. Choose a daily limit. Choose something that distracts you. I'm gonna talk. I like them all. You could choose all the limits. That's also fine. Anything that is a distraction to you. I've been doing a phone thing lately where at the end of my workday, I put my phone away. Or sometimes throughout the day when I am scheduled into blocks for deep work, where I don't want to do shallow things, I don't want to be interrupted. I'm really going to think about what I'm doing on this live stream, what I'm doing in my devotional, what I'm writing in my book. I really want to think about those things. So I put the phone away, and it goes in a different room, and I'm weaning myself off of it. When I'm sitting in the living room with my wife at night and we're watching kind of that last hour of TV or YouTube or whatever before we go to bed in our last wind down time, I'm making a point of not having my phone with me during that time because I don't want to be scrolling while I'm also absorbing content here, while I'm also spending time for my wife. Now, this may not be your limitation. It doesn't have to be. It's mine. But choose one. Choose a limitation. Whatever it is, just pick one thing. Maybe it's an email cutoff time. I have a new executive assistant. I don't know why that was hard to say. I have a new executive assistant. And yesterday, I gave her access to my calendar. And she looked at my calendar and she said, you have checking email on your schedule. And I said, yeah. She's like, are you so busy that you... by the way, I don't know exactly how I took this, but she said to me, are you so busy that you have to schedule yourself to check your email? And I'm like, well, first of all, yes. Yes, I am. Thank you for asking. Second of all, that's not necessarily a good thing. But third, no. I put check email on my schedule every day because I don't check my email outside of that block. I have 1 hour a day when I look at my email. Outside of that, I do not interact with it. Why? The limitation that I put in place allows me to determine what needs to be done to keep my focus on that and to execute on that. You call ChatGPT a her. No, it's not. It's not a ChatGPT. It's a real human being. It's a real assistant. I'm limiting screen time at the moment and focusing more on things like art and learning French. I love it. So far, it's going très bien, might I say. I love it. Very, very nice. So I 1 hour a day for email. Guys, I don't need more than 1 hour a day for email. I probably get 100 emails a day. but I can go through those in an hour. And here's what I do. I'm stealing this from Cal Newport, who wrote the book Deep Work, which I'm currently reading. It's a great book. Maybe I'll do a couple of weeks here where we do a book report on that, like I've done with some other books in the past. But the thing I love about this is that he gives, kind of different ways to do things. And one of the things that I've heard from Cal is he goes through his email and he doesn't do what you would normally do. Normally you'd go through your email and you would go, okay, I'm going to open the first one and I'm going to respond to it. No. He doesn't do that. What he does is he goes through, he looks at the email, and then if it's a task or a response that's required, he just makes a little note in another document. Respond back to Jim, or, send a message to so-and-so and so and such. And what that allows him to do is then he can group those tasks into like blocks of time so that he's not jumping back and forth between different things. Because jumping back and forth is a part of what keeps us distracted. And that's a part of what keeps us from being our best, from showing up as our best every day. So think about that. How do you group things together so you're doing like things together? But the lesson that I'm trying to get to here is that limitation allows me, 7 other hours of my workday to focus on execution or on the deep work that I do. There is shallow work. No shade on shallow work, but shallow work is like answering emails, waxing the floors, like, those kinds of things. And there's deep work, which requires sustained thought to solve problems. Writing is deep work. Innovation can be deep work. A lot of different things are deep work. And a lot of my strategic thinking is deep work. I need time for that. And I can't have it if all day long I've got email in my face. So 1 hour a day for email. Not saying that's your limitation. You set your limitation, right? Maybe it's just you put the phone away during dinner. Whatever it is. It's often going to involve the phone. I'm just going to say that. I strongly feel that that's actually possibly true. And then what I would say is choose a daily limit and then add like a creative constraint to something that you do every day. So if you do I write every day. So write every day, keep it to 1,000 words or less, right? If you've got to do a presentation, 10 slides max. I'm not going to do more than 10 slides. That's actually maybe even a lot. 6 slides max. Or if you do laundry every day, okay, every day when I do the laundry, I'm going to spend that time and I am going to brainstorm what I'm going to do in whatever else you're pursuing. So maybe if you're a streamer, as I know a lot of you are, while I am doing laundry, I'm going to come up with 3 things that I'm going to work on this week in my streams, right? So you add that constraint. You add that little extra to something that you're already doing. And then the third thing that I think about is how do you reframe limits as freedom? Do you know what I mean by that? How do we look at the ways that we're limited and go, you know what? I am making a choice here. Because the greatest power that you have in all of your life is your ability to choose. And when you expose yourself to infinite possibilities and infinite opportunities and infinite choices, you're actually taking away your own power. So I want you to reframe your limits as freedom. I am choosing to focus on what matters most. And if the limits are not self-imposed, if they're limitations like the painter, who had the shake, if they're limitations that have been imposed upon you, how do you reframe those to say, this limitation will create focus in my life in a new way? Because every limit, and especially every intentional limit, is going to expand your freedom to spend the time on the things that matter most. And what do I say over and over and over again? Becoming great, getting better, growing in your life is all about understanding what's most important right now and focusing on that thing above anything else. You cannot be crushed beneath the weight of information, of everybody else's concerns, of all of the input that you're getting from every angle, and still move forward. At some point, you'll be struggling under too much weight, and you've got to take some of that off. And limitations, intentional limitations, are one way to do it. So that's just a thought that I had on limitations this week. I don't know if that resonates with you. Let me know. Throw it out there. If it's something that you can experiment with, get back to me. Let me know. Send me the story, and I'll read it on the air next week. Or if you want to record a voice memo for me and send it to me, I'll play it on air, and we'll talk a little bit about how your limitations are working for you. And I'll keep you in touch about how mine are working for me so far too. The great thing about the phone is that now that I'm making a point of not having it in front of me all the time, is that I've lost it like 3 times within the last couple of days. I've gone, where is my phone? I actually need to send a text or something like that, and it's not in front of me. So let me know how your limitations are going and what limitations you are choosing to focus yourself in your life. Let's talk, as we talk about kind of getting the noise out. The other thing that happened to me this week is just yesterday, actually, I got an email from a friend, and she said, hey, I've got this friend, and he is a great idea guy. He's got all kinds of really, really good ideas, but he has a problem. And his problem is that even though he's got really, really great ideas, he's really receptive to all of the feedback that he gets from every single angle. And that sounds like a great thing, doesn't it? It sounds like, oh, that guy's really open to input. He's really open to feedback. Like, that is exactly what you want to be. But the problem is, she says, the issue is he's not being taken seriously by people because he's so eager to incorporate their ideas sometimes that the strength of his ideas is not showing up. So there's a myth that I want to address here. And again, for those of you who may be introverts, this is your get out of jail free card this week. There's this myth that collaboration is always the best way to do things. And there's this idea that consensus is the right way to make decisions. You know what we say about consensus? Consensus is a decision that nobody's really happy with, right? I don't think consensus is the way, and I don't think collaboration is always better because here's the issue. As much as it's in my zone to build good teams and strong teams, sometimes teamwork dilutes vision instead of sharpening it. So there's one of the models that I work with is the 6 types of working genius, and there are 2 geniuses that this person that we're talking about we think they have in play. One is enablement. And I have the genius of enablement as well. 6 types of working genius. If you want to talk more about it, just comment genius in the comments here, and I'll get back to you on that and tell you how you can learn more about it. The 6 types of working genius looks at how we engage with work. And work is anything, right? Could be relationships, could be your job, could be anything. So I have this genius of enablement. And enablement, people who have the enablement genius, they love to help people. They are highly responsive. They like to come alongside people and help them where they're at. People love enablers. They absolutely love enablers. But here's the problem. This guy who's an enabler, he's also an inventor, meaning he's got ideas. He's solving problems. He's coming up with creative things. And according to my friend, they're really good. But he gets so typecast as the helper that sometimes his best ideas are not making it to the surface. I have this problem too. A lot of times when I went into business with some friends of mine many, many years ago, I ended up as the business guy for the business. And I have no business being the business guy. I mean, I'm capable. I had a career in banking a while back, as many of you know, and so I know a little bit about small businesses and how they operate. I'm certainly, have run my own business for quite some time. But I ended up, it was a creative company, but I ended up being the business person. I was the one who was writing the checks. I was the one who was paying the insurance and, and figuring out the bank accounts and all of those things. And as a result, because I was the helper, I never got to be the one who used my other abilities, my other skills. That's one of the reasons that I work at home now. And there's a lot of people who are like, oh man, I love working with people. I need to be with people. And I am absolutely that person. I need to work with people. I love to work with people, but I work from home a lot. And the reason I work from home is that when I work in the workplace, in an office with other people, and somebody comes to me and they say, hey, I need this or I need that, or, hey, I need a sounding board for that. I'm almost always going to drop whatever is in front of me to go and help that person because that's in my nature. And the issue is that's not always the best thing for the business at the moment. It's not always the best thing for me at the moment. And so my other genius of discernment, which is all about being able to tell what's right and what's wrong and what the patterns are and where the holes are, that gets left behind because I'm so busy helping. And we need you to do this. We need somebody to do this. Okay. Here it is. Andrew, you're the one. You're always willing to help out. We need you as the helper. But the issue is that when you're always being the helper, sometimes too many cooks. Some would call that easily distracted. Yes, I would call it easily distracted. Exactly. But it plays from who I am. That's the thing. It plays from a strength. And distraction often can play from a strength. This is something that I would examine in your life. When you have distractions, what strength are they actually coming from? Or if they're not coming from a strength, then probably good ones to get rid of. I'm not going to be the harbinger of social media death, but I will tell you, I've taken all the apps off the phone. And the reason I've taken all the apps off my phone is because I realize that it's just additional things that are taking me away from the things that I need to be doing. And so I can still access all of it on the computer. I can have access to all that stuff, but I don't carry that with me wherever I go because I don't need to spend the 5 minutes that I'm waiting in line scrolling through stuff. My brain needs to learn to be bored, right? So that's a distraction for me that's coming from a weakness, from my inability to be bored because I've trained myself into that. But if it's coming from a strength, like my enablement strength causing me to drop things down, that's a good place to go back to and go, why am I not getting work done? What am I doing that's not helping me get work done? And then follow that all the way back to the place where it can be a strength. And then you go back to creating limitations, right? Because you don't want all of the feedback. But going back to my friend's friend, he doesn't want all the feedback. Too many cooks in the kitchen, right? It can lead to lowest common denominator thinking is what it can lead to. That whole concept of decision by committee. No, at some point, the reason there need to be leaders is that someone needs to go, okay, this is the direction we're going to go. You have to be that person in your life. Nobody else can be that person for you. You've got to be the person who's in the driver's seat. And if you're not, then you have to find out why. And you have to find out how you can change it. And you have to learn to not over-edit yourself as well. If you have the genius of enablement, it's going to be really, really hard to do. Sometimes you just have to protect the essence of your idea before you let others touch it. And this is what brings me to sometimes you have to work alone. So if you're a person who, like me, has ideas, but then you go and you get all the feedback and things like that, here's the limitation I'm going to say. Work in silence and in secret and alone until you've got it narrowed down to maybe 2 or 3 ideas. Don't go out with the broadest possible idea and throw it into a room full of people who are going to jump on it like piranhas. Really focus down on providing only a few options. Because if you've already done the discernment portion and narrowed it down to a few options, then the people who are being asked to provide input it's really more fair to them because you're asking them to provide input that's going to be meaningful, that's going to be helpful. It's not just going to be noise. So edit yourself. Work in solitude at first, and then take your ideas out there. And also, get a tight loop. Find one or two people who have good discernment, who have the good ability to look at things and go, that's right, that's wrong, something's not right here. Maybe I can't even put my finger on it, but something's not right. One or two people, not 5, not 10, not a board of directors. You don't need all those people. One or two people that you can consistently go to on your team and go, here's the idea. Shoot some holes in this for me, and have them help you refine it. And then when you take it to the bigger group, then you have the opportunity to have it narrowed down at first. So work it out first, draft it, self-edit yourself, take it to your loop, your ID loop, to your discerners, and help them, have them help you to narrow it down even further. And then the other thing is lead from altitude, right? So when we talk about the working geniuses, we talk about wonder and invention being very, very high level, and then lower levels, not lower levels in terms of being less important, but being closer to implementation or enablement and tenacity, getting things done. And those getting things done have a lot of gravity. But lead from your higher altitude. So what happens is if you get pulled into doing too quickly, or if all you're ever focused on is doing, what will happen is you will find that your ideas are not as good. So it's important to move towards action, but it's also important to give yourself the time and space to have ideas, present fewer, sharper options when you finally invite the feedback. How do you find out if you have a genius? Sometimes I lose myself in fear of being mediocre. That's totally normal and totally relatable. Also, I have the same thing. So the 6 types of working genius is a model that I work with as a coach. It was invented by a group called the Table Group. They're an American consulting firm. And it suggests that there are 6 types of working genius, 6 different ways in which people can approach work. And that all of us have 2 of those that give us energy and bring us joy. And they have 2 of those that drain them of energy and joy. And if we look for the places in our lives where we can work in those areas where we get joy and energy, and when we use those in the right way and not in the wrong way, that's when we're going to be at our most productive. That's when we're going to be at our greatest. That's when we don't have to worry about being mediocre, because we're going to be firing on all cylinders. So love to have a conversation with you about that sometime. And anybody else, again, who is interested in that, please work out. Please work out. Do work out. That's good for your body. But please reach out to me, and I'll talk to you about the working geniuses and how you can discover yours. That'd be awesome. So here's all of this to say, working alone sometimes is not all about just isolating yourself. It's not all about just protecting yourself. Sometimes it's like an incubator. It's like that warm place where that egg can grow and get ready to hatch. Because when you're in collaboration, it works best when you're bringing something that's already formed to the table. It's way better than if you're just bringing mushy things that other people are just going to take and tear apart. So I don't know. That's another bit of advice for you today is if you are in an idea, and now not idea, the framework, but if you're in a knowledge work space, if you're a person who has to come up with the innovation and ideas, don't take it out too soon. Definitely take it out. Definitely get feedback. But understand that you have to be able to filter the feedback as well. So that is that. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope there was something there that was meaningful and interesting to you. And I hope that you enjoyed this time. I enjoyed it. I have had fun being with you guys here today. I will probably not be back again next week because I'm going to Nebraska next week, actually, to see a football game and to visit my grandmother, who is 95 and still lives there in Nebraska. So I'll be off the air next week, but keep an eye out on andrewburkum.substack.com. Check out becomingdaily.substack.com if you're a person who is interested in faith or in growing in faith, or if you're interested in looking at your own personal growth through a faith lens. Becomingdaily.substack.com is my daily devotional. That'll be a 365-day work, or you could just buy the book when it comes out next year. The book Be Great will be out in December of this year, so keep an eye out for that. That'll be my first published book. I'm very excited about that. And, of course, you can check me out on YouTube and Instagram and all the other places at Andrew Burkum. That's all I've got for you today, guys. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I hope that you... Thank you for today. Can't wait for next time. You guys are absolutely welcome. You're welcome, Head of Steel. You're welcome, Eve. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And listen, here's my last word today for you. You don't have to do everything to get closer to great. You don't have to turn off the phone and write daily and go to the gym and do this and do that and do that. Just start with one. Start with one thing. What's one thing you're going to do tomorrow to get closer to the person that you are meant to be? Because once you start to do that, and then you do the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, then over time what will happen is you will find that you have achieved more than you thought you were capable of. I know that you're capable. I know that you're magical people. Thank you for being here today, Kitty Cat. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for those who are watching after the fact. And most of all, just know that I believe in you. I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the world. Now go be great.
I've been caught in the whispers, lost in my doubts, tangled in stories I can't live without. But there's a fire, it's burning inside, calling me forward, I can't run and hide. It's not about perfection, it's about the climb, breaking through the limits, one step at a time. With every breath, I'm closer to the dream, a life that's bold, a heart that gleams. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. It shows who I am, but it's just the beginning, not the end of the plan. Through trials and heartache, I've learned how to fight, to shape my tomorrow. I start with tonight. It's not about the shadows, it's about the flame, fuel and the courage to rewrite the game. Every step forward, I leave fear behind. Greatness is waiting, it's yours and it's mine. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. This is your moment, go on, be great. Through the storms and the pain, I'm finding my way again. With purpose, with heart, I'll never fall apart. It's the journey, not just the end, a story that begins again. I'll build it, I'll create a life that resonates. Be great, stand tall, rise above it all. Let your light shine through, answer the call. There's power in you, don't hesitate. you.